ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and I'm just plain living here.
Good morning, John Gray. I'm Peggy Burton.
And
hi,
I'm Jim Fuller.
And here we are once again.
Once again, and
Survived the flood.
let it rain, let it pour, let it rain a whole lot more, 'cause I got them deep river blues.
Thank you, John.
It's going to start up again tomorrow. It's
it
going to
really?
rain tomorrow all day long.
Great. My road was closed. One of my roads
Well, yeah,
was closed.
there's a
And I
bunch
had
of water
a
came
lake
down.
in my backyard. Look, I'm up on a hill, and there was that valley can fill up.
Well, you have a pretty good sized running creek that runs behind you,
Yeah,
don't
that's
you, all
what-
the
That's what I'm
time?
talking about. Yeah. Well, when it floods,
It-
you can
it
look
get-
out, and it looks like you're living on a lake. My 13 turkeys came back.
They did. You have 13?
No, I think it's 14 or 16. There's a lot. It's
A lot
hard
of
to count
turkeys.
them all.
Well, yeah, they're hopping around doing what turkeys do.
I know a few other turkeys in my life.
I've got a babbling brook behind my house, or
A
babbling brook.
I love
when
that.
it rains. Yeah, I guess there's some drainage issue
Yeah.
over there, but it runs right down there.
It's good to
and
have a
it gets
babbling
pretty
brook.
wide too when it rains a lot. Really does your yard good too when it backs up over in the yard and that kind of stuff. But
When we were little, we lived on Druid Lane, and we lived next door to Ricky Crutcher, Cliff Crutcher, and there was a little drainage ditch in between our house and Crutcher's house, and the houses were about as far apart as, well, we could stretch a string and have cans and talk
Oh,
to each
yeah.
other. And when it rained, our backyard would fill up, and Crutcher's backyard would fill up, and Mom would make us nets to where we could go catch bugs floating on the water.
Yeah.
And so we'd go out, and I mean, it was about knee deep on a kid, and we'd holler for Crutcher, and Francis, when she sent him out, Miss Crutcher sent him out, he had to wear his duck. He was embarrassed. We're out there playing around, all those kids, and he comes out with his duck around his waist, with water hitting him at the knees.
Yeah.
that was a great place to live. It was kind of ironic, but years after that, when I moved back from Atlanta, I bought that house that John
Oh, really?
grew up in.
Yeah. It was a neat little house.
It was. It was the coolest thing. It didn't have central heat and air, and
So it was
which I
cool.
thought it was going to be a problem. However, somebody, and it wasn't John's dad, it was somebody after, I guess, that had bought the house. They had put this huge fan in one end of the house.
No, Daddy did that.
Oh, your dad
Yeah,
did that?
yeah.
This thing was like a wind tunnel.
It sounded
And
like a jet going
honestly,
over.
And if you
Yeah.
turn this thing on with the windows open on the other end of the house,
It'll suck you right
and
through.
I guess that house was about 1,500, 1,600 square feet,
Maybe,
maybe something like
maybe.
that. But you turn that fan on the one end of the house, it would pull stuff off the table sitting over there. It was like a wind tunnel.
Kept you cool, I'll bet.
I found it phenomenal
That yeah.
would keep that house cool. but
Well,
it
see,
did.
that's the way it was in Grandma Gray's house down in South Louisiana. They had attic fans.
Yeah.
And for some reason, there wasn't a way to put an attic fan in that house, so he put it in the end. And then when we moved over to Hood Drive, we had an attic fan in that, because people didn't have central heat and air back in
No.
those days. We had baseboard. No, we didn't have baseboard. We had heat in the ceiling, which is the stupidest thing in the world,
Yeah.
because heat rises. Why they wanted to have heat in the ceiling, I have no idea. But they did. But we had an attic fan in there, and we turned that thing on, and that cool breeze would come through
Yeah.
there in the summertime. It was wonderful.
When I was in
Yeah.
the Philippine Islands, we had one bedroom that had an air conditioner, and everybody that came to see us, we'd all congregate back in that bedroom. 'Cause it was so
I bet
hot.
that was
Yeah.
interesting.
It was very hot. But you survive it.
Oh yeah, well, that's what you get used to.
Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, when you grew up, it wasn't common to have
No,
central heat and air.
I didn't even know what that was.
No, and most houses at that time when we moved over on Hood Drive, a lot of houses didn't even have an overhang for a long time. The roof came right to the wall, and that was it. Gutters, and then they started putting overhangs on, and 1 foot, 16 inch. There was a 3-foot overhang on that house. And that meant there was shade on the side of the house.
Yeah.
So
That was
the
the cool
house was
part.
in the shade all around it pretty much, unless it was early morning or late evening. and it kept it cool inside there.
Yeah.
So there's different
Now that
things you
we've
can do.
shared this wonderful information with the world.
Yeah.
How did it go Saturday night?
Saturday night was great at South Jackson Civic Center. Friday night was great with Darius Wallace doing
Yes, it was.
Martin Luther King Jr. And then Saturday night was Troy Durham and Marty Scott, J.D. Honey's fundraiser for Sarah Cannon Cancer Center, kicking out the footlights, and we did 40 classic country songs.
That's a lot.
It was a lot, but it was wonderful, and we had a great crowd. I want to thank everybody that came out. Now, I want to let everybody know that the 16th, that's this weekend, isn't it? Yeah.
That is the road crew in Tullahoma.
The road crew is going to be here, and that's a
They're called the Route 66
Yeah.
band.
yeah, America. And they play that kind of music, and they're going to be there at what, 7:30? Starts
Yes.
at 7:30.
They do a lot of 50, 60s into the 70s music, and then a lot of stuff they write themselves. Woody Beaumar, who is from War Trace,
Right.
was my very first piano student when I got out of college, and he went on to major in music, and he owns a recording studio and all that. And his group they're wonderful.
Yeah, and so they do Elvis, Ricky Nelson, Everly Brothers, Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, and all kinds of other stuff. It's $18 is the cost, and thought for the day before we go to commercial. The proximity to success is buffered by lack of insight that can only be achieved through clarity of vision.
All right then.
There you go. All righty then. We'll
John
be right
Gray
back
has
after
done it
these
again.
messages.
Russell's got your truck, man. Russell's got your truck. Chevy, Ford, and Ram, man. Russell's got your truck. With the best selection anywhere. Russell's got your truck.
Where can you find all 4 all-American truck brands all at one place? Check us out on the web at russellbarnett.com. If you still can't decide, give us a call. We'll line them up for you. Either way, my question is, why buy your next truck anywhere else?
Russell's got your truck, man.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and this is our segment we refer to as Police Pointers, and I'm pleased to have joining us on the set this morning a man who has attained major notoriety over the last several years, primarily because of this show, and his notoriety has been enhanced even greater, probably twofold, by the fact that he is married to Lenore Blackwell, who is now the president of the Tullahoma Chamber of Commerce, and that's really improved Paul's status immensely.
I thought you were going to say it was something about my singing or my dancing abilities. And
well, I think you're, and I didn't even know you had those skills up until this past Christmas.
a lot of people had said that they've seen enough of those skills.
But I think that helped your status. You know, that
I think it makes you appear more approachable, more human-like. That
you could be, at least in my memory, and I'm pretty old now, you could be the first police chief in my lifetime that I have ever seen on television dancing and singing.
Well,
And
It was for the kids, so
and
you
even
know,
even that is a bigger deal when you think that a lot of that he did with the Tullahoma fire chief. So I mean, you know, this is just amazing what's happening.
well, I
here.
appreciate you humbling me again. You know, that have to show some humility here.
I think you may be a little embarrassed, Paul.
Am I turning red? I feel like it. But it's you know, it's part of our job to get out and interact with the community. Myself and Chief Shasteen constantly say
Sure.
that we want to build a partnership with the community, and what better way to do it than to be out and be a part of it, and sometimes make a fool of yourself, and
and let people know you're human.
That's
and,
it.
And quite honestly, I think, or seriously rather, those jobs have changed big times in the last 20 or 30 years.
When I started back in 1982, I can see how law enforcement and policing has changed over those 34, 36 years now, and it has changed. There's a lot more emphasis on. When I started, it was called just plain old community relations. Now we have fancy words like community policing, and you know all the fancy words, and it's still the same thing we learned back then, but now we have ventured out into a lot more programs and projects that truly try to build a partnership with our communities, and so we're trying to do that as well.
Is that something you always wanted to do, is get into law enforcement?
I believe so. When
Yeah.
I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18, my interest was in law enforcement, and then when I got out and went to college, again it was I studied criminal justice. So I knew at some point I would get into law enforcement. Just wasn't sure exactly which path, whether going back in the military or staying in the civilian world and either working for the federal government or local government.
We don't talk much, and I don't want to belabor this too much. 'Cause
That's okay. It's your show.
We actually have a topic we need to get to. But I realized when I mentioned that your wife is now the president of the Chamber of Commerce, she is quite the comedian. I thought, you know.
Well, she had to. She married me.
I just didn't realize that about Lenore, and I found her acceptance speech quite entertaining. And she talked about releasing balloons in Tullahoma, and I quite well remember Paul and I talking about that one day on the show.
The week right before.
Exactly, and it was illegal, but you neglected to tell Lenore that.
Well, I wrote my article. It was in the paper.
She
neglected to read it.
Nor did she watch the show.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's the way it goes.
So I guess she's not my fan club president.
On a personal note, how did you meet Lenore?
We met in college at MTSU.
Yeah.
And we started dating and dated for about a year and graduated. And she was from Oklahoma, and that's where I took my first police job.
Oh.
So once we graduated, we moved back to Oklahoma, and she went to work in the oil field industry, and I worked at a police department. And then we got married out there.
Yeah.
And, so we met at MTSU. When we graduated, we never thought we'd be back in Tennessee. And 10 years later, the Lord brought us full circle and brought us here.
And you've been here since early 90s?
Early 90s.
Yeah, okay.
I came back from Desert Storm in July or May of 90. And then we moved up here. She moved here in about July or August of 90, and I came a few months later. So we've been here ever since then.
Okay, great story. Great story.
Came from Tampa, Florida, as she mentioned. You know,
Yeah,
came
right.
from a big city that had everything you could imagine, the beach, and came to Tullahoma. Been here 26, 27 years now, and we love it.
Yeah, great. Okay. Now, you did have a real topic here.
Well, we did. One of the things we often talk about are scams, and we hear about those all the time. Sometimes it affects a lot of people. Sometimes it's just one person that has been affected by it. But I had an interesting one come across my desk the other day, and it was from a person that has an interest in shopping. They like to shop. They fill out a lot of these comment cards or how we do and things like that. So they saw an ad for a secret shopper, and they thought, well, that's right up our line. We like doing that type stuff. And so they communicated with the advertisement, and then they received a packet in the mail that had a check in it for $3,700 and something dollars,
Oh.
and some instructions, you know, how to participate in the secret shopper program. So they just sent it all to me, said, just take a look at it, tell us what you think. And the end result was I told them I believed it was a scam, and then explained why. But you know, this is a case where someone reached out to someone as opposed to someone reaching
That is a little
to
different.
the people. So what was unique about this was there are legitimate secret shopper
Yes.
programs out there. So that was one of the things that kind of enticed the people was, you know, we hear of secret shoppers all the time. And the check was made out to them. It was made from a legitimate bank in Florida. So, you know, on the surface, things look pretty good until you start reading the instructions. And that's what I brought to their attention was, well, let's start with the check. The check was looked legitimate, the address was correct, the name was correct, the routing number was correct. So, all practical purposes, it looked pretty good. But you look at the check, and many of us have had experiences with bank checks, and maybe they haven't embossed somehow, maybe the amount is embossed, or there's a seal, or something about it, you know, is embossed so you can feel the texture. But this was just a solid piece of paper with everything written on it. So I told them that, you know, that's the first thing let's look at. Then on the back it talked about there were like 11 security measures built into this check. I couldn't find 11 security measures built into the check. In fact, it said there was a watermark. You know, you hold it up every which way, you can't see the watermark. And it talked about a scratch-off box on the back where you scratch it and some numbers would appear. That wasn't there. So basically told them I would not feel comfortable with the check. But then some of the instructions, like I say, it was $3,700 and some odd dollars. And the instructions were to take $3,200 out of it, and the remainder you could keep, so $500 and something dollars. And then to go get two $1,600 MoneyGrams.
No.
One from one company, one from another MoneyGram company, and send them to these locations so they could see the effectiveness of the MoneyGram business. I said, you know, and so where they were telling them to send this to, one was the Manila, Philippines. I said, why would you send $1,600 to the Philippines, you know, on a MoneyGram? And the other was somewhere else. I didn't pay much attention to that. Let's start picking that apart of, does this make sense? Of course, my first question was, why would any legitimate business send you a check for $3,700 and something dollars on the hopes that you would do what they asked you to do?
Exactly.
Why not keep the money to yourself and
Right.
say a good pay? There was no contract,
Right.
no agreement, nothing that said I would do,
Right.
you know, to obligate yourself to their program. And then the envelope it came in, you start playing, you know, remember Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, you know, the private detectives that,
Right.
you know, were not so, you start looking at the postal envelope it came in, and there was a barcode. And you can go to the Postal Service and pull up the barcode, and the letter originated in like Illinois, but the return address on the thing was Mississippi State University down in Mississippi. Yeah, and so it's like, you know, let's think about this. And then you're sending money to the Philippines. You're not sending it back to Mississippi State University or this address in Illinois. So there were just a lot of things that didn't make sense. But again, sure, they could have deposited that check and waited the waiting period that your bank requires, 3 days, 5 days, whatever it is, and then gotten that money. And then here in 2 or 3 weeks, when the check makes full circle and your bank calls you and says, guess what?
Yeah.
That check was no good. Now you've spent $3,200 of your own money to send off, and it's gone.
Yes, right.
So my advice to them was, you know, I wish I could tell you I'd follow through on it, but I think I'd throw this one away or frame it. But you know, I sure would not follow through with it, and that's kind of how these scams work. You know, we know a lot of people are hoping that these are legitimate, but as I often say, if it looks too good to be true, there's something wrong with it. and let someone else look at it. Because you get all wrapped up and get excited, you're not going to take, no, it's a scam. You know, you're not going to convince yourself that. Let someone else look at it and tell you it's no good. It's not good. So that was interesting. But we hear of all types of scams that are always going on, and our advice to people is if it sounds too good, question it.
Yeah, because it probably is.
Yeah, because there's a lot of other ways that Secret Shopper program can be initiated without asking you to send money somewhere. And that's the key that should be a red flag of asking you to send something to someone else.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of variations about people sending, of the scams rather, where people send you a check, want you to send them.
Yeah, you send us the processing fee or pay the taxes up front, you know, maybe send you a $10,000 check but want you to send $500 to them.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Until you find out that your $500's gone and that $10,000 is no good.
No good, that's right.
So you've got to be careful of that, and but like I say, ask somebody else to look at it.
Is that something you guys do at the police department if somebody has a question about something like that?
Yeah, and we get that a lot of times, and they want to know what we're going to do about it, and we have to say, there's not a lot, you know, just like this example I just told you. The envelope came from Illinois, the return address said Mississippi State. You know, they want you to send the money to the Philippines. You know, where would you even start?
Yeah, exactly.
And, so we do get a lot of people that'll come by and bring us stuff, and we tell them, you know, if we've already heard of it, we know it's a scam, we can tell them that comfortably. If it's something new, then we kind of look at it and try to break it down for them and explain why we believe it's no good.
Yeah, okay.
So we encourage people to let us know. I know the sheriff's office does a great job of posting it on social media, but we all get different types of scams.
Right, okay. Good information, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming by today. All right, folks, we'll be right back in just a moment with more Living.
Attention Shoeistas, Bryn's Shoe Boutique in Tullahoma is closing forever. Every item in the store is reduced for immediate sale. Brenda is offering huge discounts on her entire inventory of fashion women's shoes, designer handbags, and jewelry, featuring famous brands like Yellow Box, Nine West, Bandolero, Impo, Coach, Michael Kors, Joseph Ripkoff, and others. The sale is underway now through March 3rd. Hurry in for huge savings at Bryn's Shoe Boutique, 115 Northwest Atlantic Street, Tullahoma. Open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday.
The Animal Shelter has served Tullahoma dogs for nearly 30 years. Now, you can help us build a bigger and better no-kill shelter. Your tax-deductible gift is matched dollar for dollar, so come on, bark it forward and donate now to have your tax-deductible gift matched. Make your check payable to the COT Shelter Building Fund and go to tullahomatn.gov to see all the unique gifts available for your generosity. For more details, you can call City Hall at 455-2648.
I want you to take a look at this little dog. I'm here with Jacob Swink from the animal shelter here in Tullahoma, and he has this precious, what do we call him? What kind of dog is it?
A Yorkie.
A Yorkie. I mean, I can't believe somebody would leave this little thing in the snow. It was almost frozen to death, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you think he might be about 6 months old?
6 years old.
Oh, 6 years old. Okay. I can't tell, he's so tiny. What's his name?
Anderson.
You've named him Anderson, a big name for a little dog.
Right.
Oh, has he had all his shots?
Yeah, he's been vetted. He's good to go.
He's good to go. So anybody that wants this dog, you just call that number right there and put a hold on Anderson. Anderson is, it brings to mind that people need to be careful with their animals, their children, themselves in terribly cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
I just really want to hang somebody that would drop off a dog like this.
Right.
Is there any criminal arrest that goes on with something like that if you ever found out who did it?
Yeah, there is.
I think there is.
Mm-hmm.
So what's big happening with the animal shelter right now?
We just had a board meeting. We had somebody come back and give a estimate on the shelter, on the new shelter.
Oh, good.
And they came in under budget, so it got approved to be built.
Fantastic.
So hopefully this spring they'll start building it.
So they'll break ground in the spring. And I'm assuming that anybody that wants to make a donation to the animal shelter, they're always eager to get donations. They're eager to get towels and sheets and blankets and food for animals. Do you have a certain kind of food you like to get? Or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter.
Because I can't imagine how much food the animals go through there at the shelter. How many do you have right now?
About 40.
40 dogs, all sizes.
Yes.
Like this little thing probably just eats a handful. But
yeah.
And how do you decide how much to give a dog?
We try and give them as much as they want because they have enough negative things going on that we don't want them to be hungry.
You don't want them to be hungry because this little thing probably had to build up tolerance to food.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of them are really skinny when we get them, and we try and fatten them up while they're down there.
I think you do a great job. It's just amazing to me how you're so good at taking care of so many animals. If a person happens to find a stray animal, they just call your office there?
Yeah, as long as it's from Tullahoma.
As long as it's in the Tullahoma city limits.
Right. Yeah, they just call us and we can come pick it up.
And often, though this is a horrible thing to do, and in any case, people will drop the animal within the, if they're droppers,
right,
they'll drop the animal within the city limits, and I can't say I applaud them for that kind of action, but it's better than, well, I don't know what it's better than.
Right.
A person should never drop an animal.
No.
Or a child or anybody else. Do y'all have any fundraisers coming up?
Not right now. We're still doing the bricks for a little bit, and it's about to wrap up. So if you have any brick forms, now's the time to mail them in.
So if you have a brick form, get it. What does it cost to get a brick?
$100.
$100. And do you need more bricks, or do you have enough?
Or is there, it's just something where you'll have whatever you want written
just
down
whatever
there forever
you have,
at the new shelter.
Is he making a noise?
Yeah.
He's trying to talk. I wonder if he knows.
Yeah.
So you have 40 animals that are for adoption right now, and do you all interview the people that come in to adopt to make sure that they are credible?
Somewhat.
But most people that would come in are nice people, and they're wanting an animal. Honestly, everything I've read says that people that have disabilities, people that are old like me, children that are stressed, people that are stressed, if they have an animal, it alleviates a lot of that.
Right.
And you know, the PTSD people in the military, they're beginning to pair them up with animals now.
Yeah.
Do y'all do some of that?
Yeah.
And how do you train them? Is there a training process that goes through?
Well, the people get the dogs trained. They do it right at Petco in town.
Okay.
They have training there. The guy that does training is really good.
And for instance, if I were going to adopt this dog, I would want to know, is he house trained? And do y'all know that?
Some of the dogs really depend on where in the shelter they are, because some of them can go inside and outside.
But some can't.
In a small area.
This one's probably in a small area.
Right. So it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell.
Most of them a lot of them are potty trained, and you just got to figure out what their sign is that they need to go out.
Yeah. What are some of the things that people need to do for their animals in this, when the weather gets really, really cold, like it's been off and on this winter?
The big thing, if it's below freezing, you legally need to bring it inside. A dog house is too cold. When it's above freezing, they can be outside if they have a dog house. You don't want to put blankets or towels in a dog house because they can get wet and freeze. You want to put hay in there. But the best thing you can do if it's below freezing is just get them
inside a shelter. Well, I think our time is up, and Jacob, I love what you do, and I love the fact that you bring these animals on, and I'm hoping somebody out there will call and adopt this little thing. We'll be back.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're pleased to have joining us on the set now Mark Allen, and Mark is a candidate for county mayor. Mark, welcome to the show today.
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about who is Mark Allen, what do you do?
Well, I'm an accountant on a CPA firm here in Tullahoma. Spent about 20 years with the state of Tennessee Comptroller's Office, auditing county government. I've been the finance director in Coffee County and for the city of Manchester.
I see. And your office here in Tullahoma is, are you in business with Melissa?
Melissa McGee's one of my partners. Which we have another partner, Eric Green. And pretty well regional. From all over.
Okay. So you've seen a thing or two about government finances along the way, I would assume.
Quite a bit. Quite a bit. I've taken about 10 years off and kind of away from the political environment, so to speak, and have made a decision to try to get back into it.
Okay. So I assume then you live in Tullahoma, is that correct?
I live in Manchester and have a business here in Tullahoma.
I see.
That's one reason why I'm here. Originally in '84, when I graduated school, I moved to Tullahoma. And spent about 10 years living in Tullahoma. So I've been in both cities, so to speak, or both areas of our county.
I would assume that there are some issues perhaps you have concerns about, or things you'd like to change.
There's many issues that I would like to address and change. One thing that I think is vital right now, one of the things that, the reasons I ran, I had a granddaughter born back last March, and looking at her, are things going to be better? Are things going to be worse in our future? The more that I looked at what the direction that we were taking, the more that our future doesn't look good. We've got to address some things. We've got to think bigger than what we are. Tullahoma is the principal city of Coffee County, and Manchester's the county seat. There's always been a rival between the two, which has spawned some good things. Coffee County hadn't changed much since 1984.
Mm-hmm.
It's stagnant. It's going to take, we've got to come together as a county and work for all of our benefit. Actually, when I was serving as the budget director in Coffee County, there was a real Coffee Countian from Tullahoma, Mr. James Murray, that I'll never forget, that would come out and address issues not only in Tullahoma, but also across the whole county. Those boundaries didn't exist. We need that. Again, if we're going to continue, Tullahoma's going to grow into what it can be. We're going to have to think larger than where we're at. We've got many issues facing us that impact our growth. We have issues right now of spending money basically for tourism that's going on at the county right now for the development of the Bonnaroo site. That is impacting Tullahoma.
Are you saying that's impacting in a positive or negative way?
I think it's more of a regional issue. I don't think it's something that Coffee County via Tullahoma needs to address alone. What I would like to see us do is develop a regional tourism development authority that affects all of southern Middle Tennessee and work together on the development of that. I don't think that that's a risk that Coffee County should bear on its own, or Tullahoma. A lot of people will say, well, that's out in the county, that's up by Manchester. Well, it is, but your tax dollars are going to go into that development, and the risk of those tax dollars in the future for that development are at risk. The whole southern central Tennessee is impacted by that event. We've got issues that aren't being addressed that need to be addressed greatly, such as the Manchester Coffee County Conference Center, which can either be a jewel or it can be one of our biggest problems we've got. We're going to have to think a different way. How does that impact Tullahoma? Well, two ways. You're helping fund the losses at that conference center through your taxes. Two, places like Jacobs use the facility. Has more of a regional impact. We need to bring that issue up. It needs to be addressed. It has to be addressed. You can't halfway do a business. You either got to be all in or all out. Right now, we're halfway there, and it's draining resources.
Jacobs, who you referred to, that means
Jacobs
Engineering here in Tullahoma.
Engineering here in Tullahoma.
Right.
My daughter actually is working for Jacobs and lives here in Tullahoma. So we've got numerous issues. One thing that I would like to do is address how important the county primary and the county general election is to the citizens of Tullahoma. Coffee County is not a municipality. It's a political subdivision of the state of Tennessee. There is no charter for Coffee County. Coffee County was created by the state constitution and is to provide minimum government for the citizens of Coffee County. The city is to provide amenities to Coffee County citizens. The two cities do, such as trash pickup, some of the niceties of things. And I would like to see a better relationship between the county and Tullahoma, and not just talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's going to have to be done and action taken. Currently, there's no actions being taken. We need a strategic plan. We need a direction. Right now, our county government is just putting out fires, addressing issues one at a time with no goal or no direction. Those goals and direction need to be established. I know I'm getting very wordy, something I'm very passionate
Well,
about.
yeah, we're about out of time, so Mark, why don't you just take this last minute or so and just talk directly about the things that you think set you apart from perhaps some of the other candidates.
Well, what's different about me is I've got 30 years experience in local government. Not as a politician, as an employee and a public servant. That is going to set me apart. I'm a businessman here in Tullahoma. I live in Manchester. I have ties in both areas. It's time for Coffee County to come together. It's time to hold Coffee County government accountable again. And that's why I'm running for county mayor. It's time to make these changes. It's time to go forward.
Okay, and that election is in May, I believe, isn't it?
May 1st.
Yeah.
Early voting starts April 11th.
All right. All right. Mark, thank you so much for coming
Thank
by. I
you.
appreciate it. I'm
Thank
sure
you, Jim.
we'll be seeing you again.
Okay,
before May
thanks.
1st. No, wait right there. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more right after this.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street, heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is John Gray, and I'm very, very glad to be in Becky Buller's music room.
Here it is.
Where the magic happens for this young lady who is an award-winning International Bluegrass Music Association winner, Instrumentalist of the Year, Songwriter of the Year, Female Vocalist of the Year, all those great things. And it's just such a privilege to be here. There are instruments all around us everywhere.
And cookies.
And cookies that she and Romy made.
New recipe,
lemon.
Lemon cookies.
Lemon cookies. And, what what a great privilege for me to be here. This young lady has allowed me to write a song with her recently, and
well, thank you for writing
just
with me.
a great honor. And she has a new album that's coming out when?
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Because it's called Crepe Paper Heart.
Crepe Paper Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a little bit of insight, Becky, on Crepe Paper Heart and how you picked the songs for it. And I'm sure some of them were new.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I noticed about the album is you have some incredible guests.
We do.
Doing duets with you.
We do. I feel so blessed. It was really, really fun to get those folks on there. I'll get to that in a second. So we started out the album thinking it would be entirely guests, and we actually started the process of recording 3 years ago, and it's just now finally done and ready to be out there. I'm so glad. But we started thinking it would be all guests, like my last album, Between Earth and Sky, but it ended up just with scheduling and everything, it just made more sense to use my road band, and those guys are awesome. And I would put them up against anybody out there. And of course, they did an incredible job doing the bulk of the instrumental work on this record. And of course, that would be, it's past and present members of my band, because I have gone through a couple band changes since we started recording the record. But it's Ned Lubarecki on the banjo, and he is a 2017 nominee for IBMA Banjo Player of the Year. We've got Brandon Bostic on the guitar. Of course, now he's playing for Patty Loveless, but he was in my band at that point when we recorded this. Professor Dan Boner is on the mandolin, and if you came to our show at South Jackson Civic Center last October, you saw Professor Dan on the guitar, because that's what he plays primarily in the band now. But on this recording, he's playing mandolin. And then we've got Daniel the Hulk Harden on the bass, and he just left our group. He's amazing, and we miss him, but we're glad our new bass man's really good too, and you're gonna like him when you hear him. And then who am I missing? Nate Lee, who plays the mandolin in my band now. We got him to play fiddle on one of the tracks with me. So he just barely made the record, but he's on there. And then we have a whole bunch of special guests. We've got Rhonda Vincent singing Calamity Jane with me, and of course she just won her very first Grammy, and congratulations to her on that big win for Bluegrass Album of the Year at the 2018 Grammy Awards. Very proud of her. So glad that she would be on that track with me. We've got Frank Sullivan, who's won multiple IBMA awards. He's an awesome mandolin player, a great singer. He's singing with me on the song Bitter Springs, which I'd love to talk about in a minute, because that has a local connection to it. We've got the Grammy Award winning Fairfield Four, for those of you who know about African American a cappella roots gospel music. These guys are like the best in that field. They are incredible, and I get goosebumps every time I talk about having a chance to record with them and them being willing to sing with me on a song that I wrote. It was so exciting. Let's see, who am I missing? Sam Bush. I did a duet with Sam Bush, and he's just one of the greatest mandolin players ever in the history of the instrument, and he's singing a duet with me. And I'm missing somebody. Claire Lynch, one of my favorite vocalists ever. Can you tell I'm excited? And Rob Ikes joins us on Dobro for a couple songs, and he's a Grammy Award winner as well, and IBMA, multiple years IBMA Dobro Player of the Year. And Erin Youngberg, who hasn't won anything yet, but she is incredible. She's singing a duet with me on here as well, and she is part of the band Finders and Youngberg from out in Colorado, and they are putting out some really, really great music, very interesting writing, and then Erin is a true alto, just a beautiful, deep, beautiful voice, very, very unique voice. I think you're going to like her a lot. So let's see, John, lead me on.
Lead you on?
Lead me on. What else?
Lead you on. What's in the future right now for Becky Buller? Are you getting ready to hit the road? Are you booking dates? Or?
Oh yeah, we're always booking dates. It's Bluegrass, so it's endless tour, and folks can find out about our tour schedule and information about the band at BeckyBuller.com. BeckyBuller.com. That's Becky Buller, and Buller is spelled just like it sounds, B as in boy, ULLER, BeckyBuller.com. Currently, we have a couple local shows coming up later in the year. We'll be out at Summitville Methodist for a pick-in out there in their awesome pavilion. That's in late August, and then we're going to be at Lester Flat Days in Sparty, Tennessee, just down the road, just a little on past Summitville there. Just keep on trucking toward I-40, and so we'll be out there for Lester Flat Days. And but keep looking back, because we're continually booking dates, and we keep that updated. And folks can find out more about the new record there. And again, the name of the new album is Crepe Paper Heart.
So what does crepe paper heart mean to you? When you were young, did you have a crepe paper heart? Did you cut crepe paper hearts out, or?
Well, Crepe Paper Heart is actually a line in the very first song. The song is called Another Love Gone Wrong, and I'm lamenting about having a heart that's easily torn and not easily mended. So
that would be crepe paper.
Yes. So I would say I definitely have a crepe paper heart, and I wear it on my sleeve.
Well, a lot of us do, but I know one thing for sure: you're a warrior, a trooper, and have attacked this industry, this music industry, with such a great vigor and flair that it's just hard to deny you what you deserve, and that is fun, success, greatness, and you bring so much joy wherever you go, and that's so important to be able to translate that to your audience, and you do that so well.
Well, thank you, because that means a lot to me. When people come to our shows, I want them to just kind of put aside the world for a little while, and hopefully we can entertain them, and I want them to leave feeling refreshed and invigorated, and I hope that they leave with more joy than they arrived.
Yeah, no, they do every time. Well, let me ask one final question here. Where does someone go about finding Crepe Paper Heart?
They can go to my website, BeckyBuller.com, and if they go to the Becky Buller Boutique online, there they can order a copy. Also, you can drop me a line by email, which you can also do through the website. That's the best way to email me, and you can find it online at iTunes, Amazon, Google. All of those outlets already have it ready for order there, wherever you do your downloading. And my record label is Dark Shadow Recording, and they have it on their website as well, darkshadowrecording.com.
The bombastic, beautiful, big-haired, lovely Becky Buller. Y'all get you some of this. It's good.
Thank you, John.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Maiden. And we would like to welcome you to
Roosterwear.
Yes, Roosterwear is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterwear specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with the material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterwear.
Come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com
to find our handcrafted designs for
the cock of the walk.
to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Guy walks into a bakery and asks the baker, well, can you mail a pie? Baker says, I'm sure we could. So the man says, well, can you bake me a pie in the shape of the letter E? Baker says, I think we can do that. Come back tomorrow and we'll have it for you. So the man comes back the next day. The baker shows him the pie and the man says, you idiot! That's a big E! I wanted a small E, a small E. So the baker says, no problem. Come back tomorrow and I'll see what we can do for you. So the man comes back the next day. The baker shows him the pie and the man says, perfect, it's perfect. The baker says, so where do you want me to send it? And the man says, you know what? I think I'll eat it here.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad to have this couple of people on the show with me today. Will and John. And Will, your Prater is the director of...
Picasso at the Lapine Agile.
I wasn't going to be able to pronounce it. That's why I put that on you. And John Rupke, who are you in the play?
I'm playing Freddie. I'm the bartender of the Lapine Agile.
Okay, and you got the words down pat.
It took us a lot of practice to get there.
This is happening at the Art Center in Tullahoma, Friday night and Saturday night. And what time do you start?
7:30.
7:30. And some people may be wondering where my mic is on. I must be out of a battery. Anyway, we were wondering, it starts at 7:30 and it's in the upstairs room at the Art Center.
Right. So we are transforming the gallery upstairs at Tullahoma Art Center into a bar/cafe for the night. And this is a piece of environmental theater, which means that it breaks the fourth wall and the audience has the opportunity to interact with the actors, and the actors interact with the audience. So
About how long is it?
It is about an hour and 15 minutes. It's
And what you're going to love, this was written by Steve Martin. What a brilliant man. Not only does he play banjo, and we were talking about he knows science and all this kind of stuff, and now he's got all these plays, and I am thrilled that you're doing that.
It's a different kind of piece for this particular area because it's one of those that it gets sort of a niche audience. It's not going to be something that appeals to everyone, but anyone who sees themselves as any type of artist is going to come to the show and think it's a wonderful play.
I think it's exciting. And how many in the cast?
We have a total of 10 in the cast, including this brilliant man here, who I am so honored and privileged to work with. He's phenomenal.
He has an extraordinary sense of humor and is able to push it through just like Steve Martin would love to have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the tickets are only $10, I think.
Yes.
And
all
do they
the
need
money,
to reserve the...
Yes, I would suggest going ahead and buying tickets online because we think that it is going to end up selling out. And all of the money that we raise goes into the Paired Pillow Project, which people are offered the opportunity to go to the Art Center and make 2 pillowcases, one of which they keep, and the other is donated to a foster child, which obviously
is something that touches your heart and should touch the hearts of most people.
Absolutely.
I suppose you could go by the Art Center and get a ticket and see some of the wonderful work that's on display there.
Yes.
They have some awesome things.
They do.
I'm really proud of our art center, and from the beginning I've been proud of the art center, and I see a new surge of interest and goings on there right now, and I think that's phenomenal. What got you interested in this play?
Emily Seals of Motlow actually introduced me to this particular show, and from the tagline of Picasso and Einstein meet at a bar, I just kind of went, oh my gosh, that's sort of brilliant, because you have this well-renowned theorist and scientist and mathematician and this super uber painter, and them having that meaning of the minds and the conflict of the minds, and it seemed brilliant to me.
Well, I'm glad that you have tackled something that's unique and different. That's
I'm
not
just
happening
curious
every
for
day.
you, as far as like from an actor's perspective, did you feel like it was more of a challenge? Because with 1776, that was very historical. What did you think about it from a different perspective?
I did feel like it was a challenge because the dialogue in it is so science and math driven. There's a lot of big words, a lot of heavy dialogue in it, that it was a challenge for me to try and memorize a lot of this.
Well, I was impressed at the bit of dialogue you just did, because that takes some quick thinking.
Well, I love the way that Steve Martin wrote it, because it's a good balance of that good, meaty, thinky kind of stuff with the absolute hilarity. We've got Rex Brown, who does this phenomenal character who interacts a lot with Freddie, and Rex's big line is, "I have to go pee." And he says it over and over in the show, and it's so funny because he does it at the most
weird
bizarre
places,
times.
Rex
So,
is great. Rex was
yes.
Benjamin Franklin in 1776, and he was quite a hit. So I'm anxious to see that. Now, you're doing it Friday night and Saturday night, 7:30. And do you encourage? Is there any kind of reception going on prior to or after, or you don't know?
That's still in the works. We were trying to get a few other businesses that were working with us to provide different opportunities. I'm not sure if those opportunities are going to come into fruition, but I know that Beth Thames and Diane Gowrie are really working towards that. They've been phenomenal in reaching out to the community and really making sure that the community is aware of what we're doing.
Happening.
And it's definitely a movement of sorts to make sure that we are being as olive branch towards everyone. South Jackson has been wonderfully receptive to us to using their facilities as far as parking and whatnot. They've helped us out in advertising, and all different businesses have come out of the woodwork saying, yeah, we want to help you out with this.
That's wonderful.
So, oh yeah.
And you know, if you love the arts, you want it to happen everywhere.
Right.
And we should always support different venues and different events that are going on in our community. And do you want to tell about any of the other characters that are involved?
Well, we have, it's just, the cast is packed full of talent. We have Addison Womack, who is Einstein. We have Sammy Delovich, who is Picasso. We have Savannah Hunter, who is Jermaine. And each one of them just digs so deeply into their characters that it's just phenomenal to watch it as a director.
Well, I'm intrigued just by the title, and I don't know a lot about it. It was a wonderful article in the paper, and so I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Me
well,
too.
guys, we have to go. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
coming.
Thank you for
And
having us.
Yes, thank you for
Love
having
you,
us.
and I love what you do. We'll be back.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel that the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You know, you can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, you know? They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Ikonen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fix you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
I'm John Rickman, and this is
Pat Welch, and we're here with our sixth segment of Conversation with John
The
and
Grand
Pat.
Ole Opry is in its 5,000th, whatever. Now, we've got a ways to go, but I don't expect it to...
If we can ever get them to slow down a little bit, we'll catch them.
Yeah, that's right. This song was written by Albert Brumley in 1932, and it's called I'll Fly Away, one of my favorite. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a home where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away. Like a bird from prison bars it flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Beautiful old song,
That is
Pat.
beautiful, John, and we're in the Easter season now, and they're quite appropriate.
And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And we're both believers, and that song means a lot to us. And certainly there are things that are very serious about the church. And then there's some things occasionally that come up in churches a little bit on the humorous order.
Correct, and we both believe that we ought to be in church on Sunday, and are devout attenders of our local churches. But there is humor in Christianity. In fact, we had a discussion before we got started here. I educated at least 2 or 3 of you.
I've forgotten.
There's a story in Mark's Gospel, I think the 15th chapter, when it's talking about Jesus' arrest, and that somebody fled the scene and the tunic fell off and he fled naked. And to me, if Mark intended for that not to have some humor, he wouldn't have put the scene in there, depicted it in that way. And we both have to admit that there's times in church that there is some humor.
Well, you know, Pat, they didn't have an attic outlet or a Good Samaritan program back at that time.
No.
That boy could have got clothes somewhere else. You know, today, I was thinking about Tommy Martin, our friend, and you tell that story real well about our buddy Tommy Martin.
Well,
he said we could tell this, by the way.
Well, that's perfect. Then, with his consent, we'll go on. He attended Marble Plains for a time, Baptist church out by the Timms Ford Park, and the pastor is Brother Jack Heiss, who's also a great man. And we've been friends a long time with him. And Marble Plains built a fellowship hall back when I was at the Builder Supply, and we gave them some advice and helped them with some prices and so forth. And they were so kind that when they dedicated that at a church service on Sunday, that they invited me. So I went to my church early in the morning, then went to their church later in the morning. And it was an incredible service. It was jam-packed. And Tommy was off to the side in a wing running all the lights and the audio. And Jack got in the pulpit to preach right after some incredible music by somebody that they brought in, a young lady. And he first got in the pulpit, he said, wow, he said, all this special music today, and especially that last song, he said, how in the world am I going to follow that? And Tommy hollered back from the side, he said, with a short sermon! And that brought the crowd down.
Tommy Martin, he is wild. He is something. And Judy says he wakes up that way. It's just, he's that way all the time.
Hits the floor there.
Yes,
that's right.
That's right. But Tommy is a lot like other people. I remember when I first came to Grace Baptist Church years ago, it was almost considered out in the country. And Jewel Pruitt, who was a pastor at that time, he was from Louisville, and he had run track there. I'm not sure. He looked more like a shot putter. But Jewel and I got out in front of the church one day at a special fellowship day or whatever. I don't know. I was in my 20s, and he was in his 20s too. And we started at one telephone pole, and we were going to have a race to another telephone pole. Here I was, a coach over at East Junior High School, and Jewel, a former track man, and we ran hard as we could.
Kind of like that Greek god that we saw in that picture last week.
we ran as hard as we could, and we wound up tying. So it didn't hurt either one of our feelings so bad, you know, but that was a fun thing to do back that time, and just shows you how youthful you are and how many times in the church life that you do things such as that. We have fellowships and things like that.
I'll tell you another cute church story that you've told me a couple of times is when Coach Osteen, who coached in Tullahoma baseball and football, I believe. He was a head baseball and assistant football in the early 60s. And then he went to Franklin County for a short term and came back as an administrator. He's principal at East. And they brought him, he'd had some extra work, or maybe his master's thesis was on middle schools.
Yes.
And we were going to go from junior high system where you had the freshmen with the 7th and 8th graders. We were going to move the 9th graders to the high school and have middle schools, and so that he was brought to Tullahoma to help usher that period in. But now he was a good church person, but when you ask him where he sat, he said he wanted to sit in the back And if you cued into why are you a little bit bashful? And he said, no, I'm not bashful at all. He said, I like to hear some real strong preaching where a lot of conviction and some conscience gets bothered. And he said, and the preacher's doing a real good job. If you sit in the back, you can see the back of their ears turning red.
Mr. Osteen was something.
He was something
You know, his
else.
boys, we're about through here, but his boys never missed a day of school. He had 3 sons, and all of them went every single day. I'm sure they were sick sometimes when they should have been there, when they should have been home maybe, but they never missed any school. He was he believed in making them work and making them be prompt.
Mr. Osteen was a heck of a guy. He was a little bit short, but he was stout, and he ran a tight ship. And we may be able to talk about that a little bit in one of our next segments, how he ran that tight ship.
We've sure enjoyed ourselves, though.
Yeah. All right, John, that probably just wraps. This was segment 6.
Well, I'm losing count. Go ahead, Pat.
I believe it's segment 6, and that's not the end of the conversations, as long as management says we can continue.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
Tired of paying for monthly telephone service, expensive long-distance bills, and all those crazy taxes? Are you sick of spending money on telephone equipment, maintenance contracts, and service calls, all for a phone system that shackles you to 100-year-old technology and your desk? Stop it. It's time to ship your phone system to the cloud. What can the cloud do for you? Bring together remote offices, workers, and employees in the field. Make sure that you'll never miss calls by delivering them to multiple devices. Modernize faxing by allowing multiple faxes to be sent and received at once. And deliver to email. Get your voicemail messages instantly through email too. And take advantage of an endless supply of customizable features. Host My Calls can deliver the cloud. All of this technology with low upfront costs and not one penny in capital expense. It's time for a phone solution you'll truly love from Host My Calls. Call the number below.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back, and I have one of my favorite people in the whole wide world with me right now, Kat Murray. And she is here to talk about Michael J.
Michael J.
Got to go, that ain't Michael Jordan, because you can't shoot a jump shot, can you?
No, I'm too short. I am here to talk about his story told by her, number 12.
12 years.
12 times. Yes. And I have here with me Miss Lori. She is the president of the board of Shepherd's House. That's who we're benefiting this time around. And I just want to give her a little time to tell about the Shepherd's House so that everybody knows what all the funds from this show is going to go to.
Okay. And that's Lori Winningham.
Lori Winningham, yes. And I've just become the board. Took Sheila Benny's place, who served for a long time. We've been around since '99. Found a homeless person that had deceased during the night and thought we probably needed to start a homeless shelter here in our area.
About it, yeah.
Yes, and we're the only homeless shelter for the time being in the surrounding counties, Bedford, Moore, Lincoln, and Coffee counties. And so we service a big area, and work closely sometimes with law enforcement that come across these people and bring them to us, and we have all the food you could want. We get lots of donations from the community, lots of support from the community, and it's a way to help folks that are a little down on their luck for a while, and we just enjoy doing it.
And you know, I don't think we as the general public realize exactly how much of that goes on, and maybe we don't want to see it.
Maybe.
You know, not in my backyard type deal. And so what you're doing is really good work, and of course she always picks a fine place to put her energy.
Yes. I'm happy to do this for actually the whole community. It's just not just for the Shepherd's House.
Right.
For the whole community. But the show, before we forget, is March the 3rd, Saturday at 7 p.m. at South Jackson, and it's a 2-hour crazy wild Michael Jackson tribute. I have about 12 dancers now. I started with 4. And
they just keep coming,
they
don't
keep
they?
coming. Every show we pick up some. This time we picked up 3. And one thing that I want to do a little different is I want to have people bring in items that they may need, non-perishable items. At this point, I was going to read a list, but really it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
Toilet paper, detergent, just whatever you can bring down. If you can't make the show, we're going to start collecting those about 5:30. Just bring them to South Jackson, and we're going to put them there, and hopefully we'll have to use a big truck to drive them away.
Yes.
Okay, now let me ask one question right there.
Yes.
Do you have plenty of food? Do you have plenty of canned goods? Does this need to be soft goods that people bring, or canned goods?
We have a good supply of canned goods. We have some freezers, so we can accept meat, and put it in our freezer for later use. We'll take just about anything.
But are your demands needs more for the paper product type stuff?
It appears at this
soaps
time,
and toothpaste and toothbrushes.
We go through a lot of
more
that.
so than food.
Because a lot of these folks come with nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to let them know what sort is on the top of that kind of what you're looking for.
Right.
But they can bring anything.
They can. They can.
And
we graciously take
bring yourself. That's the
bring
most
yourself.
important.
That's the most important thing, because it makes the show fun. The more people that are out in the audience that I have to mess with, like John Gray,
like me,
Chief Blackwell, or whoever comes, the more fun it is for us. Because we do about 3 months worth of rehearsal twice a week for 2 hours. A night, and those children work really hard.
And y'all are in that. Y'all are in that right now. You're deep into it.
We're deep into it. And every show, I always say this every time, that if you've seen one show, you've seen one show, because it's always different. I try to add something different.
Sure.
They do things I don't know if they're doing. I do things that they don't know that I'm doing. So it makes it fun, and it's a family-friendly show. And all the tickets are $15. We have them at McMurray's, but I see the number for Shepherd's House. You can call them also. They have some tickets, general admission.
And South Jackson? Are there tickets there?
There will be tickets the night of the show there.
Okay. So right now they're at...
Right now there's not.
But at the night and Shepherd's House.
Yes.
Okay.
We're just trying to keep it simple so we can keep it together.
And it's open seating?
It's open seating, and so we're going to probably open the house at 6:15. So get there, if you'd like to sit in the front row, or as close as you can, or we have people that love sitting in the balcony so they can see everything. So,
I mean, my favorite seat's in that theater. There's no bad seat in that theater. It's not big enough to have a bad seat. It's about 4 rows from the back, 3 or 4 rows from the back, because you're stage level.
Well, considering you're going to be
MC or doing
narrating
it for you. I'll be back.
You don't get to choose where you get to sit. You sit where I say.
Sit where the microphone is.
But the kids are really, and I say kids because I'm 59, so they're all younger than I am.
Sure.
But we do have some 30-year-olds in there. But this time, some of the children cycled out, I call it cycled out, of the show because they college or they graduated high school.
Right.
And so I got 3 new younger ones in there, so that always makes it fun.
Well, is Marcus going to be there?
He plans to be there. He is this week, actually, he is opening for the NBA All-Stars. He's singing this with his little group. They're singing the Star Spangled Banner. Plus, they're doing their song they released last week. And for those that don't know, Marcus has been in all of my shows, and he ended up being in the top 8 of ABC's boy band. And he's just moving on, and he's just still the same old Marcus, though, and he plans to be there.
And to let you know how this happens, one night Kat's doing her show, and all of a sudden this young man who's about this tall at that point comes down the aisle, stands on the floor in front of the stage, and starts dancing, almost mimicking anything that anybody up there could do. Had a little fedora hat on.
Never saw his face.
Never saw his face. And that's how a small stage in a small town will turn a young boy or girl into singing the national anthem at the NBA All-Star Games.
Wow. That's right. And we have
Our
another
little
dancer.
small stages.
Another dancer.
We have to keep them open and vibrant and going.
Another dancer just got a modeling contract. And Kenny, you know, the choreographer and one of the
Kia
dancers.
Vakana.
Yes, he is now on an Office
I
Max.
said it right, didn't I?
You did.
After it's only taken me about 5
I
years.
didn't even try. Notice that? I didn't try. We love you, Kenny. But he is on Office Max commercial. He auditioned on my competition, but it's okay. He auditioned in
It's
December.
among friends.
Exactly. And he's going to be on. He kind of sent a little preview of it. So I'm just proud of all of them.
Good, yeah, and they're there because of you. And a lot of them were
Kenny.
Kenny's been Kenny.
Kenny's been Kenny.
But a lot of these young people, and it's amazing to watch the transformation of some of these young girls and boys that get up there, and when they first start, they might not have all that good a rhythm or what, and by the year 2, year 3, they're up there with can't wait to do it with smiles on their faces.
Well, you know, Alexis
just unbelievable.
Alexis was first grade when she did the first show, and now she's going into 9th grade in the fall.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how much fun
We're
is that?
excited.
We're happy for you. Again, the date, March 3rd.
Saturday, South Jackson, 7 p.m. The tickets are $15.
$15.
You can pick them up at McMurray's. You can contact the Shepherd's House, or just make sure you come on out and support the show, support the organization, and support South Jackson.
That's right. You got it.
All right. Yes.
So, folks, that's what we're doing. Thank you for watching us today. And speaking of support, go and buy something from one of our sponsors. Have Kat print you something today. And we love you, and we'll see you next time.